up, guys? Eric here again. Driverlineup.com, world's luckiest steering wheel holder, as your host. So I've just finished the video and uploaded it about deadhead miles. So there's a lot of comments there. I do want to do a follow-up to that video real quick before I get to the Million Mile Man response. What I didn't say in that video is, while there's a technicality that Prime pays deadhead miles, the truth is it's not really negotiated that way. But there's quite a few questions and statements in the comments about just taking all miles into account when you reject or accept the load. Yeah, I definitely do that. So, you know, I look at total dispatch miles and do my calculation based on that. And I've started to do my calculation more on just the line haul, because the fuel surcharge right now is fluctuating so much that I'm starting to really just kind of look at the line haul and give myself kind of what I want it to be on the rate per mile or the revenue per mile based on the line haul and based on the total dispatch miles. So that would be deadhead or empty and loaded miles. So getting on to Million Mile Man. First of all, let me say, I've said this time and time again, and now that my former fleet manager is moving into the training department at Prime, I'm soon going to reach out to him. I'm just letting him settle in. Prime needs to recognize Million Mile Man as an outstanding trainer with Prime Inc. That dude, man, if every trainer strived to follow his model and be like him, our training program, it's already an outstanding training program, but it would be like world class, man. I'm telling you, that guy deserves some recognition. Prime Inc., you guys need to look him up. So if somebody wants to reach out to me, again, like I said, I'm going to contact my former fleet manager here soon, as he gets settled in with his new position, and talk to him about Million Mile Man, because he needs some recognition. Anyway, so he did a No Cap Thursday video today and gave my channel a pretty big shout out. Thank you, Willie. I really appreciate that. Jenna and I kind of consider you family, man. You've become, and I'll be honest with you, Willie, I look up to you, dude. I really do. I have utmost respect for you. I'm not just saying this to blow smoke up your ass. I'm telling you, I really do. I mean, you've got a decade of experience on me, and I look up to you, man. I really appreciated that shout out. I think, you know, a lot of channels give me shout outs, and they all mean the world to us. But you saying what you said was special. So thank you for that. In his video, and I'm going to link to it down below, so please go watch it. He's talking about this struggle. First of all, Willie, and you already know this, there's mountains and valleys, and you're in a valley, and it sucks being in those valleys, man. But, you know, there's mountains ahead. But he talked about how he said that I was right to run my truck the way that I do. And you guys know, I do not go to California. We've not been to California this year. In fact, we've not been west of Denver this year. I take that back. In January, we went to Washington, I believe, very beginning of January. I think it was the beginning of January. Outside of that trip, we have not been west of Denver this year. And our average rate per mile, now this is a big debate. A lot of people disagree with this, and that's fine. Maybe it works out better for your truck to go out there. I've never alleged that it doesn't work for some people. I'm saying it doesn't work as well for me and my truck. Our rate per mile average for the year to date has been, I mean, like skyrocketing. We were at $2.07 average per revenue per mile 2 weeks ago. I haven't looked, but I guarantee you it's gone up from that. I guarantee it. This last pay period that we just finished today, our average rate per mile was almost $3 per mile. And So I've got lanes that I'm very particular to right now. And I said it in my very first podcast. Go search Driver Hub podcast on any podcast app. It's on Apple, Amazon, everything. Spotify. Driver Hub is our podcast. In the first podcast that I did, I talked about this. If I can stay in PA, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Kentucky, especially if I reload out of this square between Indianapolis, Louisville, Lexington, up to Columbus. Now that's for a team truck. It's not necessarily the case for a solo truck. If I was still solo, I'd want to be more kind of in the meat patch. But as a team truck, that square, if I can get loads out of that square and either deliver them in that square or take them out to PA, Baltimore area, even New Jersey, and then load back into that square, it's money all day long. It is money all day long, every day. So I totally agree with Willie that your cost of running your truck is lower by not going out west, and your revenue is higher by not going out west and running these shorter loads versus longer loads. That said, there's a caveat to that. And those of you who've been running a truck for Prime for a long time, you know this. You're gonna bust your ass on these shorter runs. And the reason, and someone tried to argue the other day that solo trucks get a better rate than team trucks. That is not true. The reason, and especially on these kinds of loads, and the kinds of loads I'm talking about are generally, and there's a car alarm going off right now, so apologize for that. It just is what it is. Generally, the types of loads that Jen and I run are between 700 and 900 miles, I would say. Sometimes 1,000 miles, maybe a few more, but generally 700 to 900 miles. The advantage to the customer is that we don't have to stop the truck for a 10-hour break. So it's just enough miles that the load has to go if the customer wants it to get there fast, that requires a team. That's kind of like super solo, right? And if they want it to get there that fast, they've got to pay a premium, and that's why those rates are a little bit better. If it's 600 miles and you got a solo truck with a brand new clock, well, the solo truck can do 600 miles if it works out to where they're loaded at the beginning of their clock. You know what I'm saying? For a team truck, it doesn't matter because our truck always has hours. So we can go pick up a 700 to a 900 or a 1,000 mile load anytime, any day. We will have the hours to run that load. So if a customer needs it to go 750 miles and they need it to get 750 miles in like 18 hours, you know, then they're gonna have to have a team come get that truck or come get that load. So so that's kind of where we really maximize our low cost, high revenue, because it's also cheaper to run those loads. We're bouncing around between Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, so we can be really selective on where we buy fuel, how much fuel. We're not going long distance between fuel stops. And as he said in his video, if you're running out California, it's very expensive fuel. You've got lots of very big climbs, and you have long distances between fuel stops. So you can't really be selective. You can't really be that strategic, and you're just not going to find the best deals on fuel costs. So your costs are going to be higher. Also, it's more wear and tear on your truck, and you have to pay for those miles. So leasing, you still pay for every mile. There's a, I forget what it is, 7, 10 cents, whatever it is, that you pay to run your truck, to lease that truck. So you're paying for those miles too. So all that said, there's advantages to both, I think. And some teams and some drivers like those long drives because it is easier. who was it? I was watching like JJ the trucker. He likes longer loads because as a solo driver, he likes to load up and not have to deal with any other shipper or receiver for 4 or 5 days. I totally get that. I mean, we used to be like that. We used to be like that. I totally get, you just want to go out there and run for 4 or 5 days, stop for your 10 or 11 hours every day, and not have to deal with shippers and receivers. There's a huge advantage to that. But you're not going to get the lower miles, lower cost, higher revenue, more profitable loads that way. Not to say that it's not profitable. It is profitable. It's just less profitable. So the disadvantage of running your truck the way that we run it is that it is, I want to drop an F-bomb when I say this, it is exhausting, because you're basically going to deal with both a shipper and a receiver every single day. If not every day, then certainly every other day. And that is exhausting, because that's constant docks, that's constant detention, that's constant waiting, checking in, washouts, dropping and hooking, trailer issues. You know, there is a price you pay to run the truck the way we run it. So I want to clarify, there's give and take. You know, we do run our truck less, and I mentioned this the other day. We did $9,000 in revenue last week, this last pay period, but we only ran 3,400 miles as a team truck. 3,400 miles, and we did 9,000 in revenue. That's freaking epic. But we were exhausted. I mean, still, we didn't get in until 1 o'clock this morning. Would you agree that week, even though we only ran 3,400 miles, felt just, if not more exhausting than
constantly doing?
But sometimes 5,000 mile weeks feel less taxing than that 3,400 miles. So all that to say, you know, Million Mile Man is absolutely correct. It is more profitable to run the truck the way we do, but it is more work. It can be more work.
For us, you know, because there are times that some people, like, I wouldn't blanket statement.
No, I'm saying compared to when we run it long trips. Everything we say is exclusive to us, okay?
I'm just trying to prevent the flag from the, you don't know.
Yeah, everything we say on our channel is exclusive to our experience, okay? I'm not saying, but I did start the video out saying that this is different for, you know, so Jenna just joined us. For us, when we compare a week to running long trips, they tend to be less laborious than a week full of short trips, but our checks are bigger running a week of short trips. So, you know, there's pluses and minuses of both ways. I'll say another thing, and I'm going to do a video about this tomorrow on now that we're buying a truck, actually buying 2 trucks. We're going to want to run our truck as little as possible. For the wear and tear on our truck, for the value of our truck. So there's that whole other element that comes into play. Like right now, it's just a leased truck. So while we care for our truck and we take good care of it, do we really give a shit about that truck after the 3-year lease? No, we don't. But when it's our truck, then we really, really care about how many miles that truck has had on it, you know, at the end of that 3 years, because we may want to continue running it, or we may want to sell it. I don't know. But the point is, the less that it's run, the softer you can be on that truck during the time that you're buying it, the more value it'll have to you afterwards. So there's that whole element that comes into play for us too. And that's why we run our truck. That's one of the reasons we run our truck the way we do. So Million Mile Man, thank you again so much for the shout out. Like I said, man, I really look up to you, and you know, respect very much you as a person of who you are and your experience. You're more than a decade more than I have, and I thank you so much, and I hope that this kind of expands on what he said. I mean, he's not going to sit there and talk for 20 minutes about Jen and I and the way we run our truck, but hopefully that kind of gives some perspective to what he's saying. I totally agree with him, but I just want to add, it can be very laborious to run your truck the way we run it. And when I listen to JJ the trucker and some of the others, some of you guys, you know, you like to deal with a shipper receiver and then not deal with another one for 4 or 5 days.
We understand why.
Yeah, we totally understand why. But if you're gonna try and do it the way we do it, that is not gonna be your life at all. So anyway, really appreciate you guys so much. We just crossed 2,100 subscribers, which is crazy. I think we had over 100 subscribers in the last 6 days. So really appreciate that. I saw the comment that someone wants to see Jenna in her new sexy nerdy glasses. That video will come soon. So
right now Jenna's fighting with the reality that it feels like I'm walking around on some sort of hallucinogen.
Her eyes haven't adjusted these glasses, so she's
literally,
it's like she ate a bag of shrooms or something. Literally
having to hold Eric's hand to be able to not fall over. And then I'm asking, is there a slope here? And he's like, yes, that's real.
I'll tell you this, she's got her Ray-Bans on and she's feeling hella cool tonight.
No, I'm not. I feel like I'm gonna puke in a trash can.
All right, guys, be safe, make good decisions. As always, drive and thrive. We'll talk to you soon.